Hello, and happy May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Just going to check my sound really. Okay. Sounds all right. If you are in chat, I think I've got a few people that are actually joining live. If you're in chat, can you also confirm? This is my this is my sound check for Wednesday. I'm going to be guest hosting on the Do Nothing project. So so I just wanted to do that, and then I thought, why not do something for May 4th? So so happy Star Wars Day again. I'm a mindfulness meditation coach, and one of the questions that I get a lot is around mantra. So a lot of folks, the two things I probably get asked the most about, the question I get is, what about mantras? And then the other thing is, I failed at meditation because I couldn't stop myself from thinking. So I wanted to pair these two things together and throw some Star Wars flair into it and offer a practice around this. So the first thing is that in mindfulness meditation, we're not really working with a mantra per se, but there are practices within the overall mindfulness tradition that we can kind of pull from or leverage as an actual mantra practice or to that degree. So there's a set of practices that are referred to as metta practices. Metta can be translated as friendliness, but most likely you've heard about it as loving kindness. And so it's the skillful use of silent repetition of well-wishing phrases. So they're phrases like, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you live with ease, may the force be with you. These are, in essence, they're not commandments, but they're, in essence, hopes or well wishes. And so in doing that, you sort of are, from a neurological perspective, at least in what your mental talk is offering, is that it's a well wish, but you're not necessarily attached to the outcome. So it's a really, really interesting suite of techniques that you see often in early Buddhism, but also it's brought into a lot of the different aspects of Buddhist practices. And so the notion, at least from this perspective, is we can use the repetition of those phrases as a concentration object. So if you're new to meditation, what we're usually doing is we're creating a situation where we're going to familiarize the mind with states that are both relaxed and alert. So that's really, when people are coming to meditation, they often come with this idea that I want to be able to chill out. I want to be able to bring, maybe from being a little bit agitated to being a little less agitated, or I want to be super chill. The use of Zen, I guess, or I want to be more Zen, is pretty prevalent. So what we can do is we can take sort of the flavor of that metta practice, and we can bring it in and use it in a way that will transfer pretty well for someone if you've used a mantra in, say, a yoga practice or something along those lines. And so what we're going to do for May 4th is we're going to use Chirrut Imwe's mantra from Rogue One. Is, I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. So I'm one with the Force is with me. So when we're looking at a mantra, what we're doing is we're creating something for us to focus our attention on. So there's an object of our focus. And then we're placing our attention there, knowing that our mind is going to wander, and we'll bring it back. And our mind will wander, and we'll bring it back. With a mantra, or with the phrases in a metta practice, we'll hear ourselves kind of flubbing up or messing up that mantra. And it's an audible way for us to see, oh, I've sort of lost, maybe I've gotten dull. I'm not as sort of sharply on whatever I'm focusing on. In this case, it would be our mantra. Or maybe I'm really uptight and I'm almost sort of upset with what is coming up or arising for me as far as mental talk, and I'm kind of like la 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 la, and so there's a sort of aggressive tone even to that. So the mantra allows us to be able to hear we can do it as mental talk or internal talk. So we can do it in silent repetition of that phrase, or we could do it out loud if we're in an environment where we're comfortable, which may or may not be the case nowadays. But if you're kind of in a situation where you're able to do that, the out loud variation gives us a little bit of a flavor. So if you're brand new, I'll try to give us a sort of a setup for the things that are important about how we want to be able to embody a practice like this. Really quickly, a little bit why that's important. We'll give you a little bit of time in that space to work with the mantra in a different couple, maybe 2 or 3 different ways, and then we'll end, reconnect, and then if you have questions, the chat is open. So if you have questions, comments, experience reports, any of that. And then the practice, just so you know, the length of what we're dealing with. So I've sort of talked for about 5 minutes or 6 minutes here now, which I'm actually on task. So we're going to do 9 minutes in honor of the 9 movies in the Skywalker saga. And then we'll sort of see where everyone's at. And that should give us about a 15-minute practice. And if you want to peace out and go back to your regularly scheduled things, you can go ahead and do that. So the beginning, what we want to do is sort of set ourselves up. Posture is a way for us to help put ourselves in a position where we're not going to have to shift as often, knowing that we're going to shift. And so we go ahead and adopt a posture that helps us be both relaxed and alert. So the body, putting the body in this position can help us foster these mind states that we're hoping to familiarize ourselves with when we meditate. So being upright, spine elongated, ideally shoulders above the hips. You can be seated in a chair. You can sit cross-legged if that's your thing. You can also meditate like Anakin does in Attack of the Clones and do it standing. So that's totally an option as well. And so we just want to be able to put ourselves in that position and then take a few deep breaths. The deep breaths are a way for us to settle in. So when we've adopted a posture that is going to help us not have to sort of fidget and move, you can kind of begin to settle in. And at the start, we want to see if we can take a deep breath in through the nose. And then your choice, out through the mouth or out through the nose. And if we can change the proportion of that in and out so that out is a little bit longer. As we do that, we're queuing up the nervous system. This cues up the rest and digest side of the nervous system. So check in right now, kind of where you're at. If you're feeling a little buzzy or maybe you're feeling a little scattered. And then as we do the practice, we'll kind of come back to sort of what is the felt sensation? What's it like for you right now? Now that we're settled in, you can begin to use the mantra. So again, this is Chirrut's mantra. At least in the movie, we're told this may be a prayer of the guardian of the wills. I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. So again, you can do that silently or loud. And as we do the mantra, we want to check in with the tone of it. We're ideally looking for something that matches what we were talking about, the balanced and alert. Fancy word for that is equanimous. So try a little bit of a flavor of that. I'm one with the force, and the force is with me. I'm one with the force, and the force is with me. I'm one with the force is with me. Now we have some options. So you can do that mantra as a continuous loop. You may decide to tweak some of the words. The mantra is, I'm one with the force, and the force is with me. You may want to take out the and that joins those two statements. If you recall from the movie, Chirrut was using the mantra very fast. So we can play with the speed of the repetition, the tone of the repetition. Either spoken aloud or mental. So mental talk. So even with the mantra, you'll find that the mind will wander. That's no big deal. You don't need to make it a hang-up. We can just return back to the mantra, start where we're at. It's natural to be frustrated as you lose concentration at first. Know that that's a skill that will improve with training. So we're in another waypoint here. Check in and see what's the tone of the body. How do you feel? You don't need to label it. Just a felt sense. What's the state feel like for you? The mind, body. I'm one with the force. The force is with me. I'm one with the force. The force is with me. We're getting close to the end of the practice. You may want to just sample this. Let go of the mantra and just be. Sounds a lot more weighty than it is, but just let go of any technique and just sit. And if you've closed your eyes, go ahead and open them, connect to your surroundings. If you've dropped your gaze, go ahead and look up. Mainly testing to see how loud that bell is. Hopefully it was not too jarring. So thank you for sitting and trying that out. So if you are brand new to meditation and you have questions, go ahead and post questions or reports in chat. Thank you for joining, especially on short notice. I appreciate that. Aaron and Danny, thank you as well. I appreciate you helping get sound check levels for me, because I don't want to goof that up come Wednesday. Thank you, Ash. You're welcome. So I said there were two things, and I didn't mean to make it a teaser, but there's this common, and it's almost as a coach very heartbreaking. People will often try meditation. They believe their intention should be to stop their thinking, and then they can't do that, and then they feel like a failure. And again, for me, it is just, it sounds maybe melodramatic, but it is very heart-wrenching, because I feel like there's so much utility that can be gained from meditation as a whole. And then this is kind of a stumbling block. And what I think has happened, the people that are doing their best or well-meaning to talk about how great meditation is, they're giving a report of what the experience of meditation might be like for them, meaning that they get into a state where they're highly concentrated and it feels like their thinking might slow down. So that's like an effect that might happen if you are really into the object that you're focusing. So maybe you're really into that mantra. Again, that's more on the Vedic or transcendental meditation side of the sort of meditation world. When we say meditation, it's kind of like saying sports or food. It is a very vast overall set of wisdom traditions and practices. And what's popularized, at least in North America right now, is mindfulness meditation, and then Buddhist practices that are mindfulness meditation kind of comes out of. And so this idea that I need to stop my thinking is really something that becomes a hang-up for people. And so the idea is not that we're going to stop our thinking, is that we're going to be able to focus our attention on what we deem important. Okay, and that's a concentration skill for us. And we're going to do that in a way that allows us to track our real-time experience. And in doing that, we get clarity around what's going on for us in the mind-body union. And then having that sort of concentration and the clarity around that gives us the ability to operate from a position where we're neither pushing away things from our experience or holding on to them and trying to sort of not let them go. And that gives us this inner smoothness. Jeff Warren talks about this as an inner smoothness that we cultivate as a skill. And so it's a neither push nor pull on our experience. And so those three things together, concentration, clarity, and equanimity, are really the foundational skills in the unified mindfulness system. And that's the system that I've been trained in as a coach. And I think it's really an interesting take on meditation, because we've, in essence, with that system, it's flipped on our heads. This is no longer sort of a skill that or a thing that you're gifted with. It is now, meditation is now, in essence, a skills game. and you can do training to increase those skills. And that's an empowerment aspect that I find remarkably valuable. So thank you for everybody, and I appreciate it. This is a successful sound test, and I went a little longer than intended, but yeah. May the fourth be with you always.